Well, speaking of people who are not having a good day, old Roger Jackson. Old Roger was hauled into the arraignment on the charges which have been upgraded is what I'm trying to say, upcharged, whatever the official legal terminology is, to a felony, some description. And he went to court and pled not guilty, which, I mean, that's kind of what everybody does, unless you're Ed Gein and you're like, well, yeah, fuck, yeah, I did it. But at the same time, isn't that going to be kind of difficult to prove against a prosecutor who has video footage of you saying, I'm going to do it? They told me not to do it, but I don't give a shit. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how he's going to get out of this one because of the video. I mean, the arguments they've made publicly are Psycho Stu was drunk. But again, that doesn't excuse it. This was part of the show.
If a drunk insults you in a bar, you can come back 20 minutes later to cave his head in.
And then tell him you're going to work with him and then actually plan to knock him out and punch him until he's dead or until you're stopped or whatever happens. You know, none of the witnesses that we've heard speak publicly who were there are going to say anything good about this or anything like there's a misunderstanding or anything. No, it was this guy was embarrassed or this guy was upset or this guy had a chip on his shoulder. And he said, I'm going to take it out on this guy tonight and we're going to live stream it. And people will see I'm not a bitch. I mean, that's what it was. And look at what happened.
Well, and Doug Malo, right? Malo's his name, correct?
I believe so,
The guy who...
Yeah.
Well, the guy who successfully pulled him off, he wasn't quite first, but he got it. He's already on record and doesn't mind being on record. Obviously, he was very open with it on video and audio saying what happened. And if there's a case, whether it's being pressed by Psycho Stu or pressed by the state prosecutor's office or local municipality, whatever the fuck government organization, which I'm pretty sure this is, he would be one of the first people subpoenaed, asked to give testimony, whatever. So if there's a flag that somebody might, if he doesn't come into court and say the same thing that he said right after the fact, if he is not called in or not involved in this some kind of way, then somebody's getting paid off. You've got to have him. He was, and I assume he's still willing. So if they don't bring him into this, then something shady is going on and he'll just nail this fucking guy to the wall by telling what he's already said. And much less if they get Stu up there. And I mean, again, he's probably not the sharpest knife in the socket or whatever the old simile is. But he's going to say, yeah, we shook hands. I thought everything was okay. And then I woke up in the hospital. What else can he say? So he's going to cook Raja, who, if they get a wrestling expert of any professional level, and again, if there's a wrestling expert that is called to the defense on this, I'd like to see who that is and what the fuck his name and credentials are. But if the prosecution gets any kind of legitimate wrestling expert, Roger's cooked. So who could possibly mitigate any of this with any kind of testimony otherwise than, well, yeah, hour and a half beforehand, he hit the guy with a can, but then we got videotape of him apologizing and accepting it.
Yeah, I don't know if that person exists. I mean, again, I don't know who's going to speak on behalf of Roger Jackson, even if his father says anything, and his father has said a lot of different things in the media. He wasn't there. I mean, there's really nothing he can contribute to this other than his feelings about it. He wasn't there and he wasn't involved. Roger's cameraman? Maybe that's the person who will back him up. But beyond that, that cowboy wrestler guy, what was his name? The one who everyone blamed, and then he put up a video like screaming and crying about it. Blaming everyone else. There's a plane going overhead. Jesus Christ. That guy, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens if he gets called in, because he was the one that they tried to blame. Roger and Rampage, I think, tried to say it was him. And then Doug Malo and other people were saying, yeah, this guy does have a fucking issue with Psycho Stu. I guess it'll be interesting to see how much of the
And
drama
he
and Knox
that
Pro is aired out.
cowboy hat guy was not defending what happened as just as saying it wasn't me that was responsible. So that'll be interesting if they get him out there to contribute some testimony. So we'll keep an eye on it. But I don't I think Raja ought to get used to, some type of routine in his life, because he's going to be probably on a strict regimen for some time after this. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's California; they're not going to charge him with anything because you know why." Well, now we know why. He's got charged with a felony because he did something. Imagine that.